I was thinking about the riots today, the demonstrations, the looting, burning down of businesses. And, I realize it's all imaginary. It's all in people's heads, the whole thing, the whole concept of it. People are dancing on strings of puppeteers they can't even conceive of. Um, it's just like the COVID virus. First, people cowered in their homes for weeks and then months because they were told to, because their puppet masters told them to. They told them there was an invisible bug in the world that could kill them. Nobody asked for proof. The government expert, Dr. Fauci, saying it, and CNN saying it. The president having press conferences about it. The other countries picking it up. The AP, the Associated Press, and all the news agencies of the world picking up from the AP must have been proof enough. Nobody could isolate the virus. Nobody could prove its existence. It couldn't pass the 3 or 5 laws or whatever that virologists had established 100 years ago to determine if something was a virus. And the medical journals published it anyway, accepted it as a new virus, even though nobody could prove it existed. And then nobody could prove that it was killing people. But everybody still believed it and cowered in their homes and lost their jobs and lost their businesses and lost their money. And because they were told to. It existed in their minds. It was a mind virus. No one's proved it. There's no test that can prove you have COVID or coronavirus or COVID-19 or whatever you want to call it. They have a general antibody test. They take your blood or they take a swab out of you and they test it to see if you have elevated hormone levels or antibodies built up in your blood, which you would probably have if you're stressed out from being locked down and losing your job for 2 months. Locked down for 2 months and losing your job. Doesn't mean you have a virus. Doesn't mean you have a coronavirus. They can't even pinpoint that. There's no test in the world to tell you that. Yet people are lining up around the blocks to get tested for this imaginary bug that could kill you, that kills people. So they tell us. And so we do it. And so why are people out marching? Why are they now? They went from being locked down in their homes to being told like robots, leave your homes and go protest. You stayed home because we told you to stay home. Now we're telling you to go out and protest because cops are racist and there's white privilege in America and in the world, and you can't see it. Nobody can prove it. You know it's there. You saw the video. You saw this white cop with his knee on a black man's neck, and the black man died. The black man was a criminal. He was breaking 3 laws at the time. He was under the influence. He was drinking. He was on a cocktail of drugs that made him a bit of a madman. So he was fighting cops and resisting arrest. The other 2 men with him were not. They were arrested. They didn't die. They didn't get beat up. They didn't fight the cops. They may or may not have been on crystal meth and fentanyl, but George Floyd was, and he died of a heart attack, according to the coroner. Now you could say that's conspiracy and they're covering up for the cops, but then why'd they arrest the cops? And why are the cops going to be tried? So people stayed home for some invisible bug, and now they're out marching for some invisible boogeyman that they can't see, but they know it exists. They don't ask for data or proof. They just know it's there. They saw the video. That's all the proof they need. And, they know this is a racist country because, hey, we had 400 years of slavery in our 244 years of existence. What more proof do you need? Whites are richer than blacks, according to Michael Moore, put out a statistic that the average net worth of a white family in America is 10 times that of a black family. Of course, nobody in America has any net worth because everyone's got $50,000 to $100,000 worth of credit card debt and car loans and student loans and a mortgage that's probably underwater. So nobody actually has any net worth, white or black. In fact, the blacks probably have a little bit more because they're renting on average. And they're not in an upside-down mortgage like a lot of white people are. But there is a lot of wealth in the white community, maybe more than black community. Who knows why that is? Is it white privilege? Is it competition? Is it a history of business for going back to 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, versus a different history in sub-Saharan Africa? I don't know. Maybe it's racism and white privilege, the boogeyman that you can't see. People are out chasing ghosts. Global warming is another ghost. Can't see it, you can't prove it. But they told us, hey, there's this chemical in the atmosphere, this carbon, it's building up, it's going to kill us. And if you use plastic bags at Kroger to bag your groceries, and if you drive a gasoline-powered car, you're gonna destroy the planet, and we're all going to be underwater soon. And you don't need proof of that. The scientists said it. Some scientists went on TV and said it, and they must all agree. How could the government scientists say that, and how could CNN report it if it's not true? There's you saw the lonely polar bear on a chunk of ice that had broken off from the whatever ice floe, wherever it was, and in the Arctic, or I guess there's no polar bears in the Antarctic. I kind of remember hearing that. So in the Arctic somewhere, some polar bear was drifting out to sea with nothing to eat because you're using plastic bags and, disposable deodorant or something. I don't know. So we're chasing that boogeyman, just like people have been chasing the Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster. This is what humans are fucking great at. We love chasing imaginary evils that are growing out of our imagination, like a coronavirus. And, we're imagining this ugly redneck from Mississippi or wherever it is he comes from, down south in some swamp somewhere with some long beard and a long drawl, and he's got a rope and he's looking for black people to string up, and he's out there. He's the new boogeyman. He's what we're all afraid of. And he's a cop, or cops are like him. They're kind of 1 foot in the swamp and 1 foot in the police station. I don't know. This is imaginary bullshit. Cops are not racist. Most of them. Yeah, a lot of them do a hard job, and a lot of them have to spend most of their time in arresting young black males who do most of the crimes. Statistically, that's not imaginary. That's a fact. They're probably fed up with it. And young black men are raised to fight the cops and not respect the cops and not respect the law in a lot of cases, not to generalize. But cops aren't racist. They're out there trying to do an impossible job to protect you and your life and your family and your property, which is the state's responsibility. It's their only responsibility. Provide courts and provide protection of the laws. That's it. That's their job. You keep giving them more jobs, but that's it. So now people are compelled to leave their homes where they've been sequestered and locked down for a couple of months and proclaim to the world that Black Lives Matter. It's a bit like proclaiming that oxygen matters. There's nobody out there thinking black people don't matter. There's no white people think that. We don't think that. I don't think that. Some redneck imaginary guy in Mississippi in the swamp probably believes that, and there probably are racists who believe that. But, you know, you're probably more likely to run into an alien or be abducted by a UFO than to run into somebody like that. It sure as hell isn't the whole world, and it sure as hell isn't all cops, and it sure as hell isn't all white people in America. It's a bunch of bullshit. And I think anybody who's psychologically normal on this planet already knows that Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. So you going out and marching and holding up a sign and burning down a building to proclaim that Black Lives Matter makes you an idiot. Because we all know that. And you don't have to go out and proclaim it. But you believe you do. Because you've been told you have to go outside and tell people. Because we didn't know. Black Lives Matter. This imaginary boogeyman is out there. We all think black lives don't matter, and you got to come straighten us out. It's crazy. Completely crazy. This is Crazy Horse. Thank you.